Hello everyone, and welcome to my General Hospital Today channel. Alexis does not pay attention to the evidence that Trina and Kai have. Instead, she defends Willow when she makes her statement just like she had planned to do all along. Alexis is standing up for Willow when Trina and Kai have evidence against her. Alexis sticks to her plan. Defends Willow in her closing argument. Alexis Davis will probably not pay attention to the evidence that Trina Robinson and Kai Taylor have. Alexis Davis is getting ready to defend Willow Kane when she makes her statement. Kai Taylor and Trina Robinson talked about taking what they know to the police. In the end, they decided not to do that because they would have to say that they were at Drew Kane's house on that night. This is something that Kai Taylor and Trina Robinson do not want to do. So Alexis Davis will keep defending Willow Kane like she planned to do. That could get Trina and Kai into a lot of trouble because they broke into Drew's place, took some things from his safe that could be used against him, ran away while Drew was hurt and lying on the floor, and did not tell the police what they knew. Now Trina and Kai are really upset because they heard Willow's phone ringing with the Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star song for Wiley Corinthos. Trina and Kai are sure that they heard Willow's phone that night when she was at Drew's place and something bad happened to him. Trina and Kai think Willow was the one who shot Drew. Kai and Trina do not want to sit around and do nothing. So Kai and Trina have decided to go to Alexis with the information they have. Alexis will probably be very surprised when Kai and Trina tell her this news on January 12th. Alexis may think about what Kai and Trina want her to do with this information. Mostly Alexis has done a job of defending Willow except for a few mistakes. As Willow's attorney, this is what Alexis does. She needs to do a job so Scout Quartermain can still see her mom. Alexis will not mess this up in front of the jury at the minute. Kai and Trina are counting on Alexis to keep their names out of this so they cannot ask her to do something that would ruin everything. Alexis has to get it right for Willow and for Scout Quartermain. Alexis may be apologetic about the situation and hate that Willow might get away with her crime, but there's really nothing she can do here. Whatever Trina and Kai were hoping to get out of this meeting with Alexis, it probably won't accomplish much of anything. In GH's January 16th episode, Willow will wait for updates on her fate while Alexis offers an explanation for her actions. Alexis might explain herself to Kai and Trina once she continues to defend Willow to the best of her abilities. Kai and Trina tell Alexis something that really shocks her. They come to Alexis' office. Say they know who shot Drew. Alexis thinks this is news for her case. She has not finished talking to the judge and jury yet. She can still call more people to testify. Then Kai and Trina tell her something she does not want to hear. They say her client, the person she is trying to help, really did do it. Finding out that Willow actually shot Drew makes things very different for Alexis. Kai and Trina's revelation is a problem for Alexis and her case about Drew. Alexis has to defend her client, know if her client is guilty or not guilty. Alexis also made her client talk in court and her client lied under oath. Alexis is supposed to tell the court if someone lies like that. Alexis also has to think about Scout. If Alexis does not do her best to win the case, then Drew will not let her see Scout. If Alexis lets Willow go free, then Scout will be living with someone who hurts children and tried to kill someone. This is a tough situation for Alexis. Alexis has a lot of things to worry about, like what's best for Scout and what she has to do for her client, Willow. Drew is a person who loves it when everything is about him. So it is only fair that his day has a part and a bad part. Drew gets some news from Marty after Tracy talks to Marty about telling Alexis something about her. Marty tells Drew something. Does Marty tell Drew that he sent a secret note to Alexis to help him out? Drew should not be too happy about this news. Ned is going to tell his family something, and this will affect Drew. Drew was actually there when he had his heart attack. The thing is, Drew saw him collapse. Then he just hobbled away. He left him to die, which is really sad. Luckily Emma and Gio came along. Helped him. When Tracy finds out what really happened, she is going to be so angry. There is going to be a problem when Tracy learns the truth about Drew and his heart attack. Molly has some problems with romance. She had a time with Cody on New Year's Eve. Then Cody told James that Molly was his girlfriend. The problem is that Molly told James she was not Cody's girlfriend. So now there is a lot of confusion between Molly and Cody. They do not seem to know what is going on with their relationship. Molly confides in Christina, who encourages her sister to pursue her feelings, but Cody thinks it's too late. In fact, he is sure he read the situation with Molly all wrong, but did he? Alexis ignores what Trina and Kai have to say. She defends Willow when the argument comes to an end. General Hospital has a surprise for us in the courtroom. Alexis Davis does something that shocks everyone. She does not pay attention to what Trina Robinson and Kai Taylor have to say. Instead, Alexis Davis stands up for Willow Tate. She makes an argument to end the discussion. This argument does not really sound like she is defending someone. It sounds like she knows what she is doing to win the case. Alexis Davis is being very smart about how she's handling the situation. She is defending Willow Tate. It seems like she has a good plan. General Hospital is really good at surprising us. This time Alexis Davis is the one who surprises everyone in the courtroom. Alexis Davis defends Willow Tate. She does a great job of it. After days of emotional stuff, some shocking things came out and it seemed like they had a really strong case against Willow. It looked like the truth was finally out and people were sure she was guilty. Until Alexis spoke up. Trina and Kai had worked hard to find out what really happened, even putting themselves in danger and ignoring warnings to bring out evidence that they said connected Willow to the shooting of Drew Kane. The police found some suspicious things about Willow. They looked at her phone records. They found a weird ringtone on her phone. Some people said they saw her near the place where something bad happened. When they looked at what she said before, they found some things that did not make sense. In court cases, all of this would be enough to prove that someone is guilty. Alexis Davis is a very good lawyer. She made a final argument that showed why people in Port Charles think she is one of the best lawyers around. The way Alexis Davis argued her case was really something. Alexis Davis is a lawyer and she proved it again with her final argument about Willow. Alexis was very calm and confident when she talked about the situation. She changed the way people thought about it. Alexis said that the evidence people were talking about was not really proof all. At best it was a fancy way of saying something, and at worst it was completely made up. She said that Trina and Kai, even though they were trying to do the thing, were too emotional about the whole thing. They really liked Drew. That made it hard for them to think clearly. The whole situation was also very confusing, which made it harder for them to figure out what was really going on. Alexis pointed out that Trina and Kai were not investigators. They did not have the training to look into Alexis' case and figure out what really happened. Alexis said that their ideas about what happened were based on guesses, not on facts that could be proven. Alexis' case was important. Alexis wanted to make sure that people understood the truth about Alexis' case. Every piece of evidence they presented, Alexis claimed, could be seen in ways, and none of it directly showed that Willow pulled the detector. The ringtone, for example, could have been planted. The phone records just showed that Willow was around. It did not prove she was guilty. The witness evidence was not reliable because people can say things that are not true when they are under a lot of stress. One by one, Alexis took apart the story that the other side was telling. She did it very carefully, which left the courtroom very quiet. What really surprised everyone was the way Alexis defended Willow's character with so much passion. Alexis kept talking about Willow, saying that Willow was a person and that the evidence against Willow was not strong enough to prove that Willow did anything wrong. She painted Willow as a mama, a loving mate, and a woman who had been through a lot of tough times in Port Charles. Alexis reminded the jury of Willow's struggles with illness, the things she did for her family, and how hard Willow tried to live a life. Willow tried to be a person, and Alexis wanted the jury to see that. Alexis asked the jury, "Does this sound like a woman who could do something bad and hurt someone on purpose?" Her voice was steady, but you could tell she was feeling emotional when she asked about Willow. She said that Willow would not get anything from hurting Drew. She would lose a lot, like her kids and her future. The cameras in the courtroom saw the feelings on Willow's face as tears fell down her cheeks, her hands shaking as Alexis talked for her. At the time, Trina and Kai sat there really surprised by how quickly their case was falling apart. They were clearly very frustrated, after all the hard work they did to find the truth. Trina looked really upset. She had put a lot of effort into showing something she thought was very wrong. Then Alexis just dismissed what Trina found. Alexis called it an enterprise. Kai was also very surprised. He had looked into everything. Followed all the clues. Now he was gripping his jaw in shock. He was starting to think that all their hard work on the substantiation might not be enough to convince the jury. The substantiation that Trina and Kai had worked on was important to them. They had hoped it would make a difference. Drew was watching from the gallery. He did not sound very sure. He seemed to be stuck between feeling thankful to Trina and Kai for being loyal. The scary fact that Alexis was making some good points. As Alexis kept talking, she slowly started to shift the attention from Willow and more towards the big mess that was surrounding the whole case. The thing that was really getting to Drew was that Alexis' argument was starting to sound pretty good. That was a little scary. She suggested that there were other players in Port Charles with far further motive, occasion, and coffers to orchestrate the crime, suggesting that Willow might be nothing further than an accessible goat. Without naming names, Alexis inferred that important forces were at work behind the scenes, manipulating substantiation and exploiting emotional connections to frame an innocent woman. This strategic move planted seeds of mistrustfulness in the jury's minds, forcing them to review everything they allowed. People knew what was going on. By the time Alexis finished saying what she had to say, the courtroom felt totally different. The case against Willow did not seem simple anymore. It was now full of questions and things that were not clear. The judge did not show any emotion. The people watching in the courtroom were talking about it. People at home were very confused. They did not know if they should think Alexis is a lawyer or if they should question if what she is doing is right. The case against Willow was what people were thinking about. Alexis was the one who made them think that way about the case against Willow. Was she really taken in by Willow's innocence? Was this just something she said to make people think that? The title kind of gives it away that the final argument was supposed to happen. This made me think that Alexis knew what Trina and Kai were going to say and she planned what she was going to do of time. Alexis had a plan. She was ready for Trina and Kai's reasons for what they did. The title saying it was as planned just makes me think that Alexis was in control the time and she knew what was going to happen with Trina and Kai. Some people think Alexis knows more about the person who did something wrong than she is saying. She might be using her power to help Willow and make people look else. Some people are worried that the people in charge are not being fair because of who someone knows or because they have power. No matter what is really going on, one thing is for sure, this trial has changed relationships over Port Charles. Alexis and the people around her are still trying to figure out what is happening. The trial is affecting people in Port Charles, including Alexis and Willow. Trina and Kai, formerly celebrated for their courage, now face the painful reality that the system doesn't always award verity. Willow, though temporarily shielded by Alexis's defense, must live with the public scrutiny and moping dubitation. Alexis herself stands at the center of it all, each person respecting her for being so smart, yet they question the things she does. The jury is getting ready to talk about the case. The pressure is really getting to them. Will what Alexis says be enough to get Willow out of trouble, or will Trina and Kai's evidence finally get through to the judge and the lawyers? General Hospital has again shown why it is so good at courtroom drama. It mixes feelings and tough choices with turns of events. This makes for a story that keeps people on the edge of their seats. General Hospital is really good at making people care about what happens. The show General Hospital has a way of making people feel like they are there in the courtroom with the characters. General Hospital does a job of keeping people guessing and wondering what will happen next in the story. The fallout from this trial is far from over, and no matter the verdict, the consequences will ripple through Port Charles for months to come, testing the Mutlakite, exposing secrets, and reminding everyone that in this city, the verity is infrequently simple, justice is no way guaranteed, and every palm comes with a price. Kai and Trina ultimately dropped the Verity bomb that no bone. The people of the megacity Alexis Davis didn't see this coming, and the effects that happened after that were really bad. For weeks people were talking, still saying effects that weren't completely true and giving each suspicious looks each around the megacity, but nothing could have prepared Alexis Davis for the shocking news that was about to be. It was like a big surge crashing down. It all started when Trina, who's generally veritably strong and calm, came to Alexis Davis' office with Kai by her side, and they both looked veritably worried but veritably determined. Alexis Davis was about to find out commodity that would change everything. It was all going to begin with Trina and Kai's visit to her office. The air in the room was really tense. You could feel it. Alexis was a smart counsel and she knew commodity was over. This wasn't a normal discussion. Trina's hands were shaking as she held her bag. Kai was walking back and forth trying to calm down. He was getting really worried. When Alexis asked what was going on, the effects that were said after that would change everything about the situation with Alexis and the people in the room, including Trina and Kai. Trina said about that the evidence Alexis was counting on to make her case wasn't just wrong, it was fake. Someone had made it up on purpose. The person who did it was someone Alexis allowed. She could trust fully. This treason was veritably hard for Alexis to take. But what really made Alexis feel like she had been punched in the gut was the part of what Trina told her. The fake evidence had hurt a person and the Verity had been hidden to cover someone important in Port Charles. The Verity was covered up to keep this person safe. Kai told them how he set up the lines that weren't used presently, secret recordings and statements that were changed. This made Alexis feel like the ground was moving under her bases. She allowed. She knew what was going on with the case and the people in it. Now she wasn't so sure. Everything she allowed, she knew, was falling piecemeal in front of her. The room came quiet as people started to understand what Kai had just said. For a moment Alexis Davis, who was generally veritably confident, didn't know what to say. Trina, fighting back gashes, said that she had been upset for weeks, really spooked of what would be, but unfit to deal with the guilt. She told us how she set about some effects that showed the story everyone believed wasn't true and how Kai helped her put the pieces together. They set about that people had been lying and it went further than anyone allowed. This really hurt Alexis. It happened right down. Trina and Kai worked together to uncover the Verity about the story that wasn't true. It was a big shock to everyone, especially Alexis. Her voice broke as she allowed about how she might have defended a taradiddle on purpose. This made her suppose about how she had tried to be honest and fair, and now it all felt like it could fall piecemeal. Kai, who was generally veritably sure of himself and open with people, looked like he felt really bad as he said that telling the Verity could be veritably dangerous. It wasn't just dangerous for them. Also, for Alexis. Trina said that people couldn't be quiet about it presently. The Verity, no matter how hurtful, had to be told. As Trina continued, she told us how the real events had happened and it was veritably different from what people were supposed to believe. The thing that people called an accident wasn't an accident all, and the person who got in trouble for it was actually set up to take the blame. Trina made it clear that the Verity about the accident wasn't what people allowed. The real story was that the person who got criticized didn't earn it. It was really bad. Someone close to Alexis had done commodity to hide the Verity and keep it secret. The look on Alexis' face showed how shocked she was. Alexis' mind went over every discussion, every piece of information, every choice she had made. Also, suddenly all the confusing effects started to make sense in a scary way. The signs were each there the time. Alexis just didn't want to see them. Kai and Trina were telling her commodity that was veritably hard for her to accept. She felt angry, shamefaced, and doubtful about what to believe. As she tried to understand what Kai and Trina were saying, her mind kept asking questions. She wanted to know everything. This time she couldn't hide how sad and empty she felt outside. Trina's voice was shaking when she talked about the moment she said about the Verity. She said her heart would not let her keep quiet, indeed, if it meant she could get hurt. Kai and Trina were telling her commodity that was veritably delicate to hear. She talked about nights when she couldn't sleep, the fear of getting penalized and the heavy weight of knowing someone innocent was suffering for a taradiddle. Kai supported her with evidence. Papers, recordings, and computer records that left no room for mistrustfulness.